facing a DUI charge, every decision matters. At the law office of Andrew W. Stewart II, we provide a skilled defense to protect your record, rights, and future. Call today or visit drewstewartlaw.com. Your future is worth defending.
Even the mighty might not see it coming. It's prediabetes, and it captures 1 in 3 adults. But you can escape. Take the 1-minute prediabetes risk test to know where you stand and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. Be your own hero on smartphones everywhere at doihaveprediabetes.org.
A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's scary that it can be put into anything when you can't even see it or notice it.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 5.
Well, happy Tuesday and welcome into Mississippi Live Weather at 5. I'm meteorologist Gabe Maynor, and for some of us, it's been an active afternoon. You saw the push notification say strong storms popping up in North Mississippi. I know a lot of us were drawn to the strong storms part of that. I really wanted you to pay attention to the popping up because that's how isolated these things are, just bubbling up for a few of us, whereas the rest of us, much drier, much more blue skies, and much more of that heat. So it's kind of a tale of two forecasts, and which one did you get this afternoon? That's the golden question. Those isolated strong storms do continue into our evening. We're not talking about severe weather. We've had a few isolated severe storms, but a few of those getting on the stronger side with some small hail, heavy torrential rainfall, and some of those gusty winds at the surface. The rain chances, they do stick around, but very limited in that extended forecast as well. One of the things we'll be taking a look at here in the Room to Room Weather Center, and temperatures climbing into the weekend. Yes, I mentioned that hot forecast, or we continue to climb into the next few days. Going ahead and looking at that first 12, you can see those chances lingering by 6 p.m., 20%, dropping to about 10% towards 9 o'clock. And by the time we get towards 10, 11, and 12 o'clock, you can see that those chances dissipate out, and we're going to be left with clear and calm conditions overnight, making way for some mild conditions, but at least a beautiful start to our Wednesday. Getting a live look outside, they're in Adenton right now, 91 degrees, and you're getting a shot of one of those showers that are moving through Oktibbeha County right now. Actually, just on the outskirts, it's more on the Choctaw County side, but we'll track that here in just a moment. But 91 degrees with some of those blue skies shining through, allowing that sunshine in. Smithville, a much different story, a much calmer forecast with 90 degrees as of 5 o'clock on your Tuesday. So that's really what the majority of us have been seeing, is at least those clear conditions, those calm conditions, and those hot conditions. And not just around Smithville, I mean, even in Cleveland, getting a few of those showers and storms as well. But I mean, really the heat sticking around 95 degrees as of this point. But Cleveland, been an active afternoon for you folks over there in the Mississippi Delta, and still getting another one of those showers rolling on through as the active afternoon continues into what will be an active evening. Greenville, you can see some of those showers. We're looking northwest. If we turn that more to the east, we'd get a good view on this storm. But even then, we get a good look at some of those cumulus clouds popping up around the area, those darker clouds at least showcasing that rainfall trying to be produced. But on the east side of Greenville, that's where the action's taking place, and those breezy conditions currently at about 15 miles an hour. Now, I mentioned that storm. We were looking at that one north of Oktibbeha County there towards Clay County, and then that one out west there towards Choctaw County. Now, putting this, let's go ahead and zoom in on these storms in particular and put this on a loop here real quick to get an idea on the motion of these storms. We're going to go back about an hour. That one there towards Clay County just now forming, but doesn't look like it's going to be anything overly impressive. It might have already peaked there towards West Point. And this one just moving through Ackerman right now, not anything near what it was. You notice when it was moving through Ackerman, some of those purples showing up. Not the case right now, and just going to be more of those heavy rainfall situations rather than a strong storm situation. So let's put a track on both of these, jump to the latest scan. And this one out here towards Clay County, not overly fast. We're talking about 10 miles an hour or so. We're seeing that Osborne 536, Bel Air Estates 555, and Hickory Grove Estates 602. That's if it holds together and reaches as far southeast as Highway 82. And same thing with this storm around Ackerman. What we're getting is it slowly progressing out there towards the west. I mean, I almost want to say about 7 miles an hour on that. And as you can see, not many communities included within that. But putting the storm motion back on, let's get another good look at this storm, because I want to make sure we have the speed on that exactly right. It's a little bit faster than 7. We could probably go out to about 10 miles an hour on that storm. Again, it's going to encompass a large section all the way from Ware close to Eupora. But that heart of the storm, those deeper reds that are showing up, we're going to track that out at about 10 miles an hour. Not that fast. Only about 10 miles an hour still. I mean, unfortunately not picking up many communities, but I guess the west side of Choctaw County paying attention to that as that moves across Highway 9 and into the west side of Choctaw County, like I mentioned. Let's go back to our home view, because this has been more of the quiet area. Our active area still remains out there towards the Mississippi Delta, paying attention to a lot of these storms around the Cleveland area that have since dissipated out. Let's jump back over the last hour or so and see how these have progressed. You notice those showers and storms down there towards Shaw, Boyle, and Cleveland. I mean, impressive earlier on with some small hail probably being produced and dropped to the ground as of about 4:30. But now it's just some of those heavy downpours that we're getting. Nothing severe as of this rate, nothing, we're not even seeing much of in regards to hail. So jumping to that latest scan, especially just basically going down Highway 61 as of this point, we continue to see just pop-up showers all around the area, that one down there towards Rolling Fork. And that's where we sit as of 5:05 on our Tuesday. Just those isolated showers and some more activity out there towards the Delta and the Mississippi River, but keeping eyes on that, and we'll track those in a little bit more detail here in just a moment. Our severe weather mode right here kind of showcases what we're seeing in those locations. That one out there towards Ackerman, still getting maybe some small hail being produced off of this. What we've seen over the past 24 hours is that those signatures of about a ½ inch hail, that hail's not reaching it all the way to the surface. You'd need about a 1.5 inch hail, if not more, on these readings to be getting all the way to the surface. At least that's what we've been able to verify so far. So for both of these storms, again, heavy rainfall expected, but not expecting anything in regards to hail or anything close to severe limits. So that's a fortunate thing. We'll take the rainfall. They can keep the hail. But looking at our analysis right here, our Mississippi Live Weather analysis, you can see that this low pressure center circulating in a lot of moisture there towards Virginia, Baltimore, the Maryland area, and over there towards Delaware. Here in North Mississippi, we've been basically along this boundary, this ridge boundary, these two high pressure systems, the shear axis is what we call it. That's what we've been experiencing over the past 24 hours, and we'll continue to experience into our Wednesday. Zooming this in here real quick to the Twin States to get a better idea on what we're seeing. It's just going to be those pop-up showers into our evening hours, 7:30, pop-up showers into the evening hours. Write that poem. But 7:30, still seeing those pop-up showers there in the Delta. Those continue to remain consistent even there towards 10 o'clock before we see much drier conditions moving overnight and into our Wednesday morning. You see that moisture primarily out there towards Alabama, Georgia, and the Carolinas. Reason why, that low pressure center wrapping around some of that moisture. And that's why folks over there are a little bit fortunate than us. And especially down there towards Louisiana, that's still along that shear axis, but that's shifting a little bit more southwest away from North Mississippi overnight. And that's why we have these dry and clear conditions. So by 8 a.m. on your Wednesday, dry conditions in the area. Those stick around into those lunchtime hours with plenty of sunshine all morning long. So get outside and enjoy that forecast, because that's going to be a perfect, ideal forecast. 3 p.m. though, you do see those chances returning, and that's unfortunately where we need to grab that umbrella for a minor few of us. Still around 20% coverage, so not everyone getting those showers, but fingers crossed, because I know we're all hoping that it's us. We'll have a little bit of a more detailed analysis coming up here in the next 60 on Mississippi Live Weather at 5. And of course, we're going to walk through some of those rain chances, long-term rain chances, what to expect with those. We'll have the latest details coming up from the Room to Room Weather Center here on Mississippi Live Weather at 5.
As a nurse, I've seen a lot of people with sleep deprivation. It affects their job, their home life. At Room to Room, we want to take the guesswork out of buying a mattress, and that's why we brought in this technology. It shows you what you need. We want to do the assessment and find exactly what's perfect for you.
Growing up, Gabe was naturally curious when he began to discover weather. Gabe just didn't want to know what was happening, but he wanted to know why it was happening. Gabe became fascinated with tornadoes, and it impacted his life. He wanted to pursue a career in meteorology. Even though Gabe grew up in Alabama, Mississippi has now become his home and his family. And one thing about Gabe is he keeps his family safe.
Right now, from the Room to Room Weather Center, here's meteorologist Gabe Maynor.
Well, I always love starting this block at 5 o'clock with pictures from you guys out in the community, what you saw throughout your afternoon. And Terry did a great job of capturing what the majority of us have been seeing. I mean, a lot of blue skies, some cumulus clouds popping up, but not overly high on those rain chances, and that's a good thing, or that's, I mean, a good thing, that's relative, of course, but at least a good job of capturing that forecast for us. So a big shout out to Weather Watcher Terry there in Columbus, driving along Highway 50. Again, that's what a large part of us were seeing, but some of us getting some of those showers. Caledonia right now looking out towards the west at one of those showers moving through Clay County, but as you can see, not as impressive as what it once was. 93 degrees right now, and that sunshine, those rays, those glories, as our meteorologist Caleb Edelblut likes to call it, shining on down and heating us up. Pontotoc 90 degrees, still with some of those cumulus clouds popping up. Over there around the Lafayette County area had some action earlier on today, but now a little bit of a drier and calmer forecast for Pontotoc and along Highway 6 for a good portion. Winona 86 degrees, and this is again showing a lot of that stratocumulus stratus clouds. That's primarily what we're getting with a few of those rain showers, but still some vertical lift component a part of this, and that's going to allow for some more development heading further into our Tuesday evening. So what we have right here is a 1 hour loop, and I want you to pay attention to the areas down there around Yazoo County and there towards the Humphreys County. Let's go ahead and let this loop back over, and that's where we had that severe thunderstorm warning that was in place for some of that small hail. We were talking about Rolling Fork at about 4:15 this evening, or this afternoon, and what happened right after? Well, a severe thunderstorm warning got issued because of that possible hail. So what we're seeing right now is a very much diminished forecast compared to what it once was. Let's take off this 1 hour loop and let's jump to the latest scan and see where those showers are popping up. And again, as we were looking at Caledonia, this one over there towards the West Point area and Clay County, currently around the Griffith and Abbott area, not overly impressive. That's Highway 46, Highway 47, right at that intersection. And if Terry was driving through Highway 50 now, probably would be tracking a shower rather than those cumulus clouds. So just a matter of perspective about when you move through the area. And let's go ahead and jump to the last 30 minutes or so and track this out. And as you can see, kind of peaked and then just collapsed in on itself. And right now it's just going to be some heavy rainfall. No lightning on this either. So as that moves a little bit more south and west, that's where we'll get some more of that activity. You might notice what we have right here is as that storm collapsed, we're getting an outflow boundary that's starting to lead off this leading edge. You see that line starting to form. So that's going to be interesting for any more that try to flare up around West Point or even reaching over towards that Caledonia area. But put this on a loop here real quick. You can see that we have several outflow boundaries. This one right here starting to push into Cedar Bluff and Griffith, and that's where we're starting to get a split almost. That's starting to form another shower, another thunderstorm possibly over the next few minutes. So paying attention to that area with this interaction of outflow boundaries for what it's capable of producing. And of course, I mean, more outflow boundaries down on the southern end of this. So this is going to be a part of the area that we pay attention to, not necessarily for severe weather, but for additional shower and thunderstorm development. Now this one around Ackerman seems to have peaked big time around the Chester community and then has collapsed in on itself. And we're still getting some heavy downpours, but no electricity on that storm, especially not compared to what it once was. And again, this is collapsing on itself, not expecting any more from this as it moves towards the west side of Choctaw County. What are the storms we need to pay attention to? Well, let's change radar sites over there towards our Jackson radar site. And what you have, if I can get on the last scan, is some of that activity there towards Rolling Fork. That, I mean, still some pop-up showers and thunderstorms happening around the Rolling Fork area, but we go up the Mississippi River and you continue to see just pop-up shower after pop-up shower. This is going to be our best bet if you live west of I-55 of seeing some more development of those showers and thunderstorms. Aside from those couple of showers that we have out there towards Clay County and Choctaw County, this is our best bet of seeing that. That's just where that boundary resides. And so unfortunately for a large part of North Mississippi, not getting any of this rainfall, so it is still a very dry forecast. I'm going to say right now, go ahead and water those plants if you haven't done so already, because more than likely you're not going to see a drop of rainfall if you're east of 55. And even if you're west of 55, those chances for you guys is still about 20%, so not overly high and still very isolated for a lot of folks. Now, as we look out there towards Louisiana and Arkansas, a little bit more impressive storms developing on the state line between Louisiana and Arkansas. Those, of course, trending in that southern direction. So as we track over the last hour, you can see how those have trended, kind of back building just a bit, similar to what our storms did last night. So that's what we're continuing to look at. But I mean, again, moving away from Mississippi, moving away from North Mississippi, so not expecting immediate impacts here. I want to go back to this shower, or should I say this, yeah, we'll call it a shower right now. It's not reach that thunderstorm potential just yet. Again, this one over here towards Clay County, because we talked about this outflow boundary, and there's several outflow boundaries that we need to be paying attention to, just several of these lines that are interacting with each other. And again, when these kind of clap together, can produce some of those pop-up showers, and that's what's taking place right now. You see right here, it's going to be very minuscule, so don't have your hopes up too high. But towards Manti, what do we see right now? Some development happening, and that's going to be what could produce some additional showers later on, just showing that this outflow boundary is one to pay attention to, extending all the way, I'll just draw it for you real quick, extending all the way from Oktibbeha County up into Chickasaw, Calhoun, and Pontotoc County. So additional development can be expected along that line, and already seeing that towards the Manti community. And then we also have this outflow boundary that's starting to extend off of this storm, and as that pushes a little bit east, you could have more development. If I put this on that loop again, additional development there along, I mean, just this boundaries galore. If you want a boundary, you get a boundary if you live in the Golden Triangle area. So continue to look at that in more detail. Is it going to be severe? No, we are staying away from those severe weather threats. Showing you guys that day one outlook. I mean, North Mississippi not anywhere close. That level 2 risk is primarily up there towards Nebraska, Kansas, and Colorado. Here in North Mississippi, it's just right along that boundary. So that sporadic development that could increase to severe potential is there. I think that we have peaked though, and so hopefully that continues to remain the case, but this boundary is still something to pay attention to into the rest of our evening. So let's get back into the show here real quick, talking about that day planner and what to expect. Jump the gun a little bit. What to expect for your day planner into those evening hours. 7 p.m., 20% coverage, 82 degrees, 76 by 9, mostly clear skies, and those clear conditions really push in by 10 o'clock as those rain chances are pushed out. Futurecast shows you exactly that. So here's a look at your 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock broadcast where we're going to be dealing with those showers out in the Delta. But again, what do we see right here on the southeast side of our viewing area? Nothing. A lot of that activity does diminish over time, except for that little bit of an outflow boundary, and that's where we do get those isolated chances down there towards Oktibbeha and Noxubee County. So paying attention to that southeast corner for some additional, very minor additional development, but the Delta continues to be the hot spot once again for our Tuesday. Even by 10 p.m., some isolated showers popping up, but you can see the majority of us staying on the drier side, and that's how it'll remain into those overnight hours. Dry, clear, comfortable, calm. Whatever C word you want to choose, it works for our forecast overnight. And then into our Wednesday morning, we're going to see those clear conditions remain. Northwest Alabama getting a little bit of those showers, wrapping around from a low pressure center all the way in the Carolinas and Virginia. So you can see how strong that system was, but unfortunately not getting that rainfall here in North Mississippi. As far as it extends is about the Florence area. So just barely on the outskirts. Low temperatures, mild start once again, mid to upper 60s with a few low 70s popping up. So as we head out the door to the school bus pickup, of course, 66 degrees with those mild conditions, 93 by drop off. And there you see those 20% chances returning by the afternoon. Now it's going to be a 20% to be taken lightly. We're not overly high on those rain chances, not like what we were tracking today. So let's get into the Futurecast here real quick, and we'll see exactly what I'm talking about with those very little rain chances there by the afternoon. You see by 9 a.m., a little bit of activity towards Greenville, still not overly high as those clear conditions really stick around. The reason why there's more activity over there is because that southern wind is starting to push more of that Gulf moisture into the Mississippi Delta. So that's around 9:30, 10 o'clock, and then into 12, clear conditions really push into the area, and we'll be enjoying a dry forecast for any of those lunch plans. Into the early afternoon, I apologize. Ooh, I felt it coming. Into about 3 o'clock, there's where those chances start to push back into the forecast. But when we talk about significant rainfall, there's one around Clay County, there's a little bit towards Webster, Lafayette, Yalobusha, but overall, I mean, we're not overly high on those significant showers and significant thunderstorms returning to the forecast. So again, it's probably going to be a day where a large portion of us have to water those plants to keep them going, keep sustaining them through this drought, as those rain showers will not be as accommodating as what we need them to be here in North Mississippi. Forecasted rainfall for tomorrow, I mean, we're talking about 1/100 of an inch here and there, maybe 1/10 of an inch in our peak locations, but again, that's going to be the extent of those rain chances. High temperatures, low to mid 90s across the region, 93 New Albany, Tupelo, and Bruce. Feels like values right around that same margin, so it is still going to be that drier air that dominates our forecast and keeps those temperatures, despite it being in the mid 90s, somewhat bearable. Now into those overnight hours on our Wednesday, you can see the clear conditions that are sticking around in the forecast, pushing more into our Thursday morning. Tries to push in a little bit of moisture, but not overly high on those rain chances. Again, staying dry for the most part on our Thursday around lunchtime. I say staying dry. This model never does justice. Whatever I say, it wants to do the opposite. But what I'm seeing behind the scenes is a dry forecast for our Thursday. Not overly high on those rain chances, about 10% coverage. So don't believe this model. It's basically telling you that there is a chance at 1 or 2 showers, but I mean that's the extent of our rain chances for our Thursday. And then pushing into Friday, those drier conditions stick around, maybe some elevated chances by the mid to late afternoon for additional coverage. High temperatures though, mid-90s, so we are slowly increasing those temperatures. 93 Grenada, 95 Greenwood, 95 around Clarksdale. Those heat indices bumping it up a degree or two, so some of that moisture is playing a little bit of an effect in our forecast, but it's still bearable, I will say. But there's a look at rain chances. 20% Wednesday, 10% Thursday, 20% into the weekend, 10% into the start of next week. Complete flip-flop from what we're seeing as we run model run to model run. So showing that inconsistencies in the model runs, showing us that those rain chances not going to be that believable, unfortunately. So we'll continue to assess it behind the scenes, but we're just not overly high on those rain chances and definitely not overly high on that significant rainfall. Here's a look at forecasted rainfall over the next 7 days, and you see the story that I'm seeing, and that's that we're not going to be getting the supplemental moisture that we need here in North Mississippi. We are right on the outskirts of a more significant area with moisture down around Oklahoma, Texas, and Arkansas. I mean, again, we're lucky to get what we can get, scraping by in that forecast over the next 7 days. And you know what that means? That drought monitor coming out Thursday, not going to be a good look. So there's your rain chances, 20% Wednesday, that 10% there for Thursday, and then 20% into the weekend, what we're tracking. But those drier conditions going to be over the next 48 hours, heating us up just a bit. 94 Thursday, 94 Friday, and then cooling off into the weekend with that moisture returning, 90 by Sunday, 89 towards early next week. So this is going to be a fantastic forecast. Just going to be hot for some of us and wet for others, with that rainfall impacting very, very few. So what we're having tonight at 6 is a detailed look at the extended outlook. We're talking into next week, into the start of fall. What can we expect heading into the season? So many folks have asked me, Gabe, when is it going to get cool again? When is our next best chance of rainfall? Well, we will have exactly that, pushing into Mississippi Live Weather at 6. Make sure to stay tuned. That'll come up in about 35, 40 minutes or so. So make sure to keep it here for the very latest, and we'll also have an update on some of those storm tracks. Hopefully not anything severe. We don't expect it to be severe, but a few of those could produce some heavy rainfall as well. Now you can download the free Mississippi Live Weather app to track some of those showers if they're popping up in around your area. We're of course watching it behind the scenes, but you can track that at any point you want to, and it has a detailed forecast for that hour by hour forecast, your 7-day forecast, whatever you need at the palm of your hands. Our next broadcast, like I mentioned, tonight at 6, and our next one coming up tonight at 10. Why do you need to tune in to the 6? Well, it's going to have a detailed look heading into that fall season, but why do we need to tune into the 10? Well, latest model runs. And with this forecast, that is very, very important, because those model runs like to flop and like to switch, and we may see exactly that pushing into 10 o'clock. So we'll have the latest look at those models for your Wednesday and into the rest of our work week. So keep it here for the very latest. Trust me, we will keep eyes behind the scenes, updating you guys as need be through your Tuesday evening.
What would you give for a child you loved to make their wish come true? To help them fight a critical illness? Just imagine what you'd do. Every single one of us can make the stars align, because when we come together, hope and joy will shine.
Whether it's our stories, the warmth of our laugh, or our family's secret sauce, we all bring something different to the table. So make some space. The power of connection is waiting right outside your comfort zone. Learn how you can help strengthen your community at belongingbeginswithus.org/teamup.